By the end of the 70s, Inkatha membership stood at 300,000 strong, organized in 700 branches across the Reef, modern-day Gauteng, Natal, and KwaZulu. This made Inkatha the largest political movement in Black South African history, being 3 times larger than the ANC at its height in the 1950s. Some years after its founding, Inkatha called for a national convention where delegates would discuss a new federal system which would balance majority and minority interests in a new power-sharing system. Buthelezi was also opposed to the ANC's failed arms struggle and believed in a peaceful transition. Speaking of the ANC, it and its ally the Communist Party were having trouble staying relevant in South Africa, as its military campaigns failed and recruitment for Mkhonto Sizwe was also drying up. Though the ANC was making some strides internationally, it was being backed by newly independent African nations and received heavy support from the Soviet Union. MK was receiving money, weapons and training from the Russians, but it couldn't do much with it. This just did more to further militarize white South African society. In 1976, white South Africa's golden age was about to come crashing down when the BCM initiated the Soweto Uprising. The Soweto Uprising would shake white South Africa to its core. The prosperity of the 60s and 70s was over. Worse, South Africa's international reputation was damaged beyond repair. Sanctions were increased. To make matters worse, South Africa's ally Portugal had withdrawn from its colonies, with hostile communist governments taking over, which was bad enough for South Africa, but was a death note for South Africa's ally Rhodesia. And by the end of the 70s, Rhodesia was under the rule of Robert Mugabe. South Africa was now on its own, and to make the situation worse, the uprising triggered support for the exiled ANC. Thousands of young black South Africans fled the country to join MK. But the Soweto Uprising was only a precursor for the chaos to come. 8 years after the uprising, the ANC had regained its strength. And now, with South Africa isolated from the world and surrounded by hostile communist countries, at the dawn of 1984, a war that would take over 23,000 lives was about to begin.